And I'll tell you point blank, I have not 1 ounce of remorse for Teresa-Ann's death.
I should have killed you, bitch. I should have killed her, bitch.
Not only did the defendant murder a 15-year-old, when he gets a chance to make a statement to the court, he feigns remorse and then tries to blame the 15-year-old.
Randall Moore. On November 11th, 2009, what seemed like a regular shopping day for Teresa-Ann Lynch Moore became her last. Teresa-Ann was shopping at a Target store in Des Moines, Iowa, when her estranged husband, Randall Moore, abruptly abducted her. Just a month prior, Teresa-Ann had filed for divorce and secured a no-contact order against Randall after enduring many years of his abusive and harassing behavior. She had moved out of their shared apartment, taking their son along for a fresh start. Randall Moore, however, violently transported her to their former apartment, where he barricaded himself inside. The horrifying ordeal escalated as Randall subjected Teresa-Ann to rape and torture for agonizing hours. The police arrived at the scene and tried to negotiate with Randall Moore, but he refused to cooperate.
Suspect's armed with 20 shells, advises nobody come to the door as he will shoot again.
He fired shots at the officers, hitting one of them, Todd Rowland, in the hand.
303 Adam, I've been hit. Okay, 303 Adam's been hit, officer down.
Meanwhile, Teresa-Ann desperately pleaded for her life, yet Randall Moore showed her no mercy. He shot her in the face with a 12-gauge shotgun, killing her instantly. Shortly after, Moore called 911. Listen as he explains his reason for brutally murdering his ex-wife.
I didn't want to do any of this.
Okay.
But I'm telling you, all I wanted was my son. I just wanted to see my 7-month-old baby. That's all I cared about.
Moore insisted that Teresa-Ann stopped him from visiting his son, who was in daycare during the shootings. He surrendered himself to the police, leading to the discovery of Teresa-Ann's lifeless body in a pool of blood. Randall Moore was arrested and charged with first-degree murder, kidnapping, sexual assault, and attempted murder. Throughout the trial, Moore showed no remorse for his heinous deeds. His demeanor was notably hostile and filled with hatred towards Teresa-Ann's family, who faithfully attended the proceedings. He accused them of unjustly separating him from his son and manipulating Teresa-Ann. Moore remained unapologetic for taking Teresa-Ann's life, claiming that he had no regrets and believed she deserved such a fate. As the judge read the verdict in the courtroom, Moore responded with nothing more than a subtle nod.
We, the jury, find the defendant guilty of murder in the first degree. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty of kidnapping in the first degree, guilty of sexual abuse in the first degree, guilty of attempt to commit murder.
During the sentencing, he rudely interrupted the victim impact statement presented by Sheila Lynch, the grieving mother of Teresa-Ann, who tearfully expressed the profound pain and sorrow caused by the loss of her daughter.
To my daughter, Teresa-Ann Marie Lynch was evil, hateful, and despicable. Now dead and rotting and repulsive to me.
Her unwavering gaze remained fixed on Moore, even as he interrupted her, spewing hateful words at her.
Read the journal she wrote. She hated you.
Thank you, Judge.
She hated you. You're a loser.
Moore had a chance to make a statement before the sentencing. For over 10 minutes, he tried to justify why he killed the mother of his son. He also made vicious accusations about Teresa-Ann's past, claiming she had been abusive, and boasted about his history with women.
That has got to be the most disgusting thing I've ever seen in my life. I'm not saying what I did was any better, but I didn't know what postpartum was. I thought the reason my wife was bitchy and nagging all the time was because she was just that way.
He also taunted the Lynch family, saying,
And I'll tell you point blank, I have not 1 ounce of remorse for Teresa-Ann's death. It could have all been prevented. All you had to do is let me see my kid. Now you're never going to see her again.
In a seemingly insincere and sarcastic manner, Moore extended apologies to his family and the police officer, Todd Rowland, whom he had shot. He claimed he would have killed Todd that day, but he chose not to because Rowland did not draw his weapon at him. He hoped that more cases like his would happen more often, so that people would learn not to deny parents the right to see their kids. Judge Joel Novak warned the court he might cross the line of judicial propriety while responding to Moore and is willing to pay the consequences.
What I've heard, but I am really glad you had your right of elocution and you could say everything that you said, because if anybody didn't know what a piece of work you were before you start talking, they know it.
The judge, Joel Novak, minced no words when he addressed Moore. He said,
I've been doing this 31 years. I've never, ever seen anybody like you. And I hope, really, I never ever see anybody like you again. the court doesn't allow me to punish you any more than I'm doing now. If I could, I would.
Despite Moore's defense, the jury remained unconvinced and swiftly rendered a guilty verdict on all charges after 3 hours of deliberation. He was sentenced to 3 life terms for the crimes against Therese Ann and 25 years for shooting Officer Rowland. The next killer battered and murdered a young 15-year-old boy over a stolen video game system. Malik Terrell. Dennis King, also known as Boo Man, was a 15-year-old boy who loved playing video games and hanging out with his friends. He had a bright future ahead of him until he crossed paths with Malik Terrell, a 21-year-old man with a violent temper and a twisted sense of justice. On May 11, 2017, King went missing after he left his home in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. His family and friends searched for him frantically, hoping to find him alive and well. Their worst fears were confirmed when his charred remains were found in an abandoned house on May 20th, 2017. What King went through in those 9 days was an unimaginable nightmare. Terrell and his 2 younger brothers tortured, beat, stabbed, and burned him, accusing him of being involved in the theft of their video game system. Terrell and his brothers believed that one of King's friends had stolen their PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, with King allegedly helping him. They lured King to their home, where they confronted him, demanding a confession. When King denied any involvement, they brutally attacked him with a hammer, stabbed him several times in the neck, and finally disposed of his body in an abandoned house nearby, setting it ablaze. The police tracked down Terrell and his brothers after they found King's cell phone and backpack at the boys' home. Terrell had fled to Chicago but got arrested on May 21, 2023. His younger brothers, aged 16 and 17, were taken into custody in Milwaukee. Terrell was charged with a first-degree intentional homicide charge, while his brothers were charged as being parties to the crime. The trial kicked off on December 17th, 2023, in Milwaukee County Circuit Court. The prosecution presented damning evidence, including a chilling recorded phone call from Terrell in jail, where he admitted to the murder without remorse. He said, "I don't regret nothing, I did what I had to do." The defense attempted to argue self-defense, claiming King attacked Terrell with a knife. They painted Terrell as a victim of a troubled childhood who battled with mental health and substance abuse issues. They advocated for a lesser charge of second-degree intentional homicide, which would have allowed Terrell to be eligible for parole after 20 years. However, the jury remained unconvinced by Terrell's defense. During the victim impact statement, Dombany Lincoln, Dennis King's mother, expressed her pain at how her son's life ended.
"You ruined my life. You took my baby, my only son. He didn't deserve that. It just breaks my heart that you tortured my baby like that. He didn't deserve that."
King's family called Terrell a bully who didn't like King because he could not control or boss him around. Terrell was granted the chance to express remorse and apologize to King's family. Instead, Terrell opted to deflect blame onto the 15-year-old victim, even taunting the boy's grieving mother.
"I apologize, like I said, for taking his life. And it wasn't over no video game. You right, it was cause he came back to my house and tried to attack me."
Terrell's lack of remorse and his insensitive statement left the judge shocked and furious.
This is a brutal, heinous, vicious, violent, sadistic act.
It was all Judge Borowski needed to hear to know Terrell was unrepentant.
On a scale of 1 to 10 for homicides, this is about a 15. Not only did the defendant murder a 15-year-old, when he gets a chance to make a statement to the court, he feigns remorse and then tries to blame the 15-year-old.
Consequently, Judge Borowski sentenced Malik Terrell to life in prison with no chance of parole.
He's going to serve a life means life sentence. I'm not allowing this defendant to ever petition for extended supervision.
He also ordered Terrell to pay $3,449.48 in restitution to King's family through the Crime Victims Compensation Fund. This next killer is a self-proclaimed patriot and white supremacist who took it upon himself to get black people out of Portland, dead or alive. Jeremy Christian. In May 2017, on a sunny afternoon in Portland, Oregon, two young women, Destiny Mangum and Walia Mohammed, boarded a Max light rail train. They were both African American, with one wearing a hijab. They did not expect to encounter a man who would unleash a torrent of racist and anti-Muslim slurs at them. Nor did they expect to witness a brutal attack that would claim the lives of two men and injure another. The man was Jeremy Joseph Christian, a 38-year-old white supremacist who had a history of violent and hateful behavior. He armed himself with a knife and a bottle of Gatorade, which he used as a weapon to assault a black woman named Demetria Hester the night before. Adding to his unsettling profile, Jeremy Joseph Christian was also a self-proclaimed patriot who attended a free speech rally organized by far-right groups earlier that month. As the Max light rail train approached the Hollywood Transit Center, his ugly racist side took center stage. Christian hurled insults at Destiny and Walia, urging them to go back to Saudi Arabia to get out of his country, and said they were nothing and they should kill themselves. To top it off, he declared himself a Nazi, saluting Hitler. A witness reported that Christian spewed anti-Muslim slurs and insisted he was a taxpayer, accusing colored people of ruining the city and asserting his First Amendment rights. As Christian spewed his hateful rhetoric at the two teenagers, three men decided to intervene and confront him. They were Taliesin Namkai Meche, a 23-year-old recent college graduate, Ricky Best, a 53-year-old Army veteran and father of four, and Micah Fletcher, a 21-year-old student and poet. In an attempt to defuse the situation and shield the girls, Namkai Meche, Best, and Fletcher stepped up. However, their efforts met a tragic end as Christian viciously attacked them, stabbing Namkai Meche and Best in the neck. Namkai Meche and Best died from their wounds, while Fletcher survived with a gaping wound in his chest. The train came to a halt, and Christian fled the scene. The passengers quickly chased him down until the police arrived and arrested him. Christian was charged with 2 counts of aggravated murder and 1 count of attempted murder, as well as 3 misdemeanors, 2 counts of second-degree intimidation, and 1 count of being a felon possessing a restricted weapon. Despite the weight of these allegations, he pleaded not guilty and claimed that he acted in self-defense. In his confession, Christian claimed he was defending himself against what he perceived as threats from liberals and the Muslims, and was exercising his right to free speech. In his trial in January 2020, the prosecution presented evidence, witness accounts, survivor testimonies, expert opinions, and investigator insights. On the other side, the defense argued that Christian battled with mental health issues and had gotten provoked by the victims. The jury deliberated for less than 12 hours and found Christian guilty on all counts. Even in the face of this judgment, Christian remained unapologetic, showing no remorse to the surviving victims and even hurling insults at them.
I'm the victim. You're on video macing me. Liar. 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 You're not the only black person on Max. Liar. Manufacturing hate crimes. You liar.
This was not the first time Christian had acted out in court. He had interrupted more than once in court hearings since his arrest in 2017.
Free speech or die, Portland. You got no safe place. This is America. Get out if you don't like free speech.
The courtroom drama reached a boiling point when Demetria Hester, the victim of Christian's prior assault, voiced her frustration over the prolonged trial, which had dragged on for more than 2 years.
Police captured, not killed, a racist white supremacist known to the police, holding the bloody knife he attacked and killed people with while drinking wine from his Gatorade bottle. And to Mr. Jeremy Christian, your mom should have swallowed you.
Demetria's comment triggered a more intense outburst, and Christian expressed his regret for not taking her life.
You are a waste of breath, and when you die and go to hell, I hope you rot.
See you there, bitch.
Now, hey.
Go back to Tennessee, too.
What do I tell you?
Go back to Tennessee, too. We don't want you here. All your race-baiting bullshit. You ain't gonna be mayor either, bitch. You ain't gonna be mayor either, bitch. You fucking hoe. You fucking hoe. You fucking up my whole
He called Micah Fletcher the surviving victim, a snitch, and said that he hoped the families of the deceased would die. Just before he was sentenced, Christian gave a rambling statement in which he cast blame on his victims, denied being a racist, and insisted he had been defending himself. Christian claimed that he regretted that 2 people lost their lives, but did not regret his actions that led to their deaths. On June 24, 2020, Christian was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole by Judge Cheryl Albrecht, citing Christian's glaring lack of remorse and unwillingness to get rehabilitated. And that's it for this video. If you want to see more crazy courtroom moments, check out this video and don't forget to subscribe.